Hello, this is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit the like button, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section after the video. Today's video is another interview with one of Stephansterns' ex-friends. This guy apparently was a good friend of his for around 20 years. He goes by the name of Josh. This is part one of that interview, and the second half will be coming out either tomorrow or the following day. And without further ado, as my mom would say, here is that interview.
Stephan, start at the beginning. I moved from Texas to California with my mom when I was 16. So we were like in the car on my 16th birthday. Started school in California there, and one of my first days in computer class, he sat next to me, and we got to talking, and he smoked pot, and I smoked pot, and we decided we were going to go smoke some pot. And we just kind of were attached at the hip after that. We went everywhere together, did everything together, until when he moved to Florida. That's when there was some separation there. Him and his family moved to Florida, and I was missing him. He was gone for a few weeks, and decided I was going to go visit. So I got a plane ticket, went out there to visit. I ended up meeting a girl, which he had introduced me to. He had met her first. But I ended up moving to Florida and moving in with him and his parents in Florida. And I stayed there for, I think it was about 6 months, some of the summertime, and then started senior year of high school there with him. And then I met my father after being separated from him for like 7 years, and got in touch with him, and he lived in Wisconsin, and I went to visit them. Went to visit my dad in Wisconsin and meet him, and then came back to Florida. And when I got back to Florida, I was informed that I was no longer welcome at the house. That I was this druggy kid, and I was a bad influence on everybody around me. And his mom had purchased me a plane ticket to go. I forget, it was his mom or my girlfriend at the time's mom had purchased me a plane ticket to go back to my dad's house and live with him. And that's what happened. And since then, we've had, not a whole lot of interaction. I'd say we've talked to here and there a few times a year. Hey, how you doing? A few years ago, I'd say about 6 years ago-ish. It was a little after that I had opened my shop. I opened a video game store, and I had reached out to him and was like, hey, you want to come work with me? My employees suck. So this was, I was, 30? The story of him stabbing the guy, that was prior to me as well, because I also heard that story, but it wasn't just from his mom. It was, his mom, our friend group, the girl that it happened with, I knew, so that was a true story, right? As far as I know.
Well, that's interesting, because the guy that I interviewed yesterday, he said he doesn't believe the story because his mom was good friends with his mom, and he never heard it. But maybe the mom never told him. We don't know.
no, that's interesting to me, because I know several people who knew this story, and one of them that was there.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe then the individual I was speaking to yesterday, I think Ryan, he just didn't believe it, but he doesn't have, he wouldn't know for certain if it happened or not. Okay.
At first I didn't believe it either, but when you have several other people that tell you the same story and what happened, it all comes together.
Okay, makes sense.
But as far as from my perspective, Stephan has always been protective of his friends, his family, and that's what that was to me. That was, this drunk dude is approaching I don't even think it was his girlfriend at the time, because there's a huge backstory with all of that. But he was approaching her, and he defended her, and that's what that scenario was. And he was the kind of kid that had pocket knives, and that's the group we were in. We were not the good kids, I opened my own video game store here in Colorado, and he had told me that he was not working and needed work, and I was like, dude, come here, please come here. My employees are not great. I need help. And then he told me, finances for me to come there doesn't look so great, and I don't know how I would cover these expenses, and my dad said this, and all these, it just seemed like excuses to stay where he was. But shortly after that, he did end up coming to visit. Him and Jen had come out here to visit, and we hung out for a few days and took him on a couple drives around the area. And
So how long has he known Jen?
I'd say 8 years ish.
Oh wow, 8 years. Okay.
Yeah, they've been together for a long time, and their relationship has always been like this on off, on again type relationship. So for me, it's just been on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that they never really, from my point of view, they never really separated. I've heard in the other interviews that he had moved out, and but even still, shortly after that, me and my ex-wife went to go visit them in Florida with my children as well. And we had a day at Disneyland. They took us to Disneyland, and we hung out all together at Disneyland that day. And that's before he had worked there. We've always been the nerdy kids. As far as his Tamagotchi and Disney and his childlike things, to me that's totally normal. I ran a video game store. Everybody I know has that. I've got my collection of amiibos and video games, Pokemon cards, right? So that doesn't seem weird to me at all, right? But
yeah, I guess for people that don't do that, it seems a little strange. But that digital game that he has, those little hand I'm not sure what it's called again. I always forget the name of it. Tamagotchi, yeah. I mean, it seems more like for kids or something. So
for me, that was for kids, 30, 40 years ago was when those first came out. And that's a collector's item already, just because of what it is. It's a collector toy. Mm-hmm. So for him to have a little collection of that, it's childhood memorabilia. Same thing as my Pokemon card collection, right?
Okay, that makes sense. Some people collect baseball cards, the Magic game, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, Magic the Gathering, which I actually learned to play Magic the Gathering from Stephan.
when you look back now, do you see any things like, man, I saw that, but it didn't bother me then, but now it's a little bit strange?
No. It makes me question, my judge of character.
Well, he's obviously really good at tricking people, so I wouldn't blame yourself. I mean, every single person that I've interviewed, when they think back, they think, yeah, he was a little bit weird, but they were all friends with him.
Yeah.
Right? So they all judged him similarly. For example, the video that just played while we were interviewing here, the guy, he said he collected semen in little containers when he was like 13 years old, and then he said if women drink this, they'll get pregnant. So he would take it to school, and he told this friend that he put it in the drinks and stuff at school. I mean, it's crazy stuff that was going on. But that was when he was like 13, right?
Yeah, that. I don't know about that. That seems like a real big stretch.
Well, no, that's a story that he said that he would tell him.
Right.
And he even laughed. He goes, "It sounds crazy." He goes, "It sounds crazy," but this is before you knew.
Like, recently went through a divorce, and there was a point there where he had reached out to my ex, I guess hitting on her in some way, and she had told me about it, I guess trying to make me jealous, or I don't know, I don't remember if she told me about it or just posted it on like her Twitter or something. But talking to a friend about it, I'm like, yeah, he reached out to her, but at least that way I know that she's with someone with my kids that I know and trust, so I don't have to worry about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was just this was 22. This was 2 years ago, when the supposed videos and stuff on his phone started happening.
Yeah. And it seems like 2 years ago is when, let's see if I can remember the timeline. They lived together, and then I think they broke up not long like 6 months later, but then he still lived in the room, he said. But I wonder if they ever really broke up while he was living there. I'm just wondering if he told people that. I don't know. That
seemed kind of odd to me as well, because like I said, I had visited the house, right? And at first I was like, well, maybe they had moved since then, or I have no idea. My first instinct was, well, I don't know for sure that he is with, or that they are in a relationship anymore, because we don't talk every day, right? So I went on to. So the first time I heard about any of this was a picture popped up on my Facebook saying that Madeline was missing, posted from Jen's Facebook. I was like, oh man, that they must be devastated. Like, I wonder if there's anything I can do to help. Should I call? Like, I don't know. And then if my kid was missing, I wouldn't want my friend from out of state calling. Right? I'm busy. I'm doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Leave me alone. Right? So I didn't. And then a couple days go by, and I'm following the story, and they found her body dead. Or he was arrested, and they found her body. When he was arrested, I'm like, oh man, like, I don't know what he's arrested for. They're saying that he's got these things on his phone, but that could be anything. Like, I could go onto a porn site at some point, and there's a link that goes down the wrong fucking path, and now that's on his phone. But then it comes out that was footage in the home, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on his phone.
Very unbelievable. Like, I'm trying to make up any type of try and make it make sense with who I know as Stephan, and it's just not jiving, right?
They even have him on camera driving around with her in it. He's
right.
Like, apparently she's not even alive in the shot that they're looking at. They don't believe she is. But he may have drugged her, and it looked like she was sleeping. I don't know. Did you ever meet Madeline? Did you ever meet Madeline?
Once, yes. While I was at the house that day, she was there. She had showed my kids how to, like, the VR game that they were playing, like Astrobot or whatever, and my kids were no longer play Astrobot. But so briefly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. So when you go back in time, though, like all the interactions you guys had, was it really? Did you ever go hang out at a bar, or just you and him together going to do something, and he just seemed totally normal?
I mean, yeah, absolutely, totally normal. Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, you were a friend where you'd go visit, even, you know.
Yeah, no, like, no anything. We partied, you know.
It sounds like he was able to compartmentalize. You know, like you literally probably were. Or are, I don't know what you refer to yourself as, but like a friend where he considered you a friend, but then he had this other version of himself, or he was always hiding his other version. But
possibly, you know, he did a real good job if that's what it is. I mean, personally, I think there is a lot more to the story than we can put together at the moment, with, you know, Mom. And so when Mom was here, when Jen was here, she is not stable. She was all over the place.
Yeah.
One minute, you know, totally happy, laughing, joking. The next minute had to go outside to the car so that she could bawl her eyes out, and then come back in totally happy, apologetic for it the whole time. She's super bipolar. Her meds aren't right, you know. Now, but and Stephan, I've never known to, like, lose his temper. He has always been very composed, even when someone is, like, in his face, like, what are you gonna do about it, man? He's very calm. But the knuckle cracking in the videos, that was him all the time. He's always cracking his knuckles. It's just very, I don't know, I guess I have more questions than answers. I still don't understand how the time frame of all of this works out. Like, he was seen at, you know, what, 7:30 putting stuff in the dumpster, but he was supposed to have, you know, her in the car with him at 8:30, and then there's video surveillance of her at a church, which could not have been her.
Yeah, they actually said that wasn't her. The law enforcement did in the press conference.
So who said that was her in the first place?
I think there was just people looking at the surveillance footage, and they were telling the mother, yeah, that could be her right there, and they just kind of ran with that. But law enforcement doesn't think it.
And then I just saw earlier that, you know, the mother never saw that footage. Like, if I had seen that footage, I know my daughter, right? Mm-hmm. I know my son. I don't care if it's grainy. I know how they move. I know how they walk. I know how they sit, right? Like, so the image that you have on your videos that says, is this Maddie? And it's pointing to the reflection in the glasses. Uh-huh. Nope, that's Jen. Jen had real short hair.
Oh, is she that little? She's tiny like that? Yeah,
she's tiny.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But even still, like, I can tell that, not even knowing her that well, you know, I can for sure tell you that's the mom, right? And that's real grainy. That, you know, so for her to be misidentified was weird. And then she was claimed to have been dropped off at 8:40.
Well, that's what. Yeah, he's claiming all those things. Law enforcement's just saying they have a witness that literally has his car at the location where her body was found.
Yeah.
That's how they found it. And they also have different surveillance shots of him dumping items, and then they see her in the car at one time and believe she was still alive, or not alive, was dead in the car at that time. Whatever you hear from him is likely not going to be true at this point. I mean, now that you know that he, on his camera himself, has his, they even described his private parts in the arrest warrant.
I saw that. I was like, oh, wow, that's real graphic. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that, I was too. I was like, I even commented, I said, yeah, that's probably the most pornographic sounding probable cause or, you know, arrest warrant I've ever heard. I mean, you could have described it a little differently. What did you think of the mother of Stephan? His mother.
I was at their house every day before they, like, I basically lived with them in California and then moved in with them in Florida, left my mom's house with all my stuff and moved in with him and his parents in Florida.
And they were just absolutely nice and normal seeming to you?
I wouldn't say normal. No. Is anybody normal? What is normal?
Yeah, what is? Yeah.
But you know, functional. I mean, there was one time where him and his mom had got, like, I forget what the instance was, why he was in trouble. But she had gotten, you know, angry to the point where she backhanded him, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, he took it, poof, and then kind of gave her this look like, really, Mom? Like, and then we left. We just walked out of the house, and, you know, she was upset, and you need to come back right now, this, that, and the other, and we just stayed gone. And you know, my mom was let him come to my house for a couple days, and, you know, didn't tell anybody that he was there, right? Mm-hmm. Just to, you know, kind of distance them because of the physical interaction. Now, was that normal? Did that happen all the time? No, but, you know, they did have a very aggressive relationship, I guess, but it always seemed kind of playful, right? Like they would be yelling at each other back and forth. Well, F you, and oh, well, F you back. Well, F you sideways. Oh, well, go yourself with the barbed wire, whatever. You know, they would just scream these things at each other, and it, you know, from an outside point of view, yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, they're just going back and forth, and, you know, it seemed harmless. Like, they weren't, like, actually yelling at, like, actually, like, mad at each other that way. Like, that was just how they back and forth, right? And, you know, his mom is very rough around the edges. Like, she's she's racist. She's got a racist background, and, you know, there was actually one point where Stephan was dating a girl that had dark skin, and his mom had an issue with that at first, and kind of got over that, and, you know, she, I don't know, it seemed like her racism toned down a whole lot after that relationship. The next time I had seen her, she was not, you know, nearly as belligerent about her. As far as I know, she was a drill instructor, and so she always carried herself with you know, I'm in charge kind of personality.
The last guy, he said that she would even buy him, like, Hustler magazine for him.
That seems odd to me too. Like, there was never a point where it seemed like his mom condoned any of his negative behavior, right? So, like, because I think I left off, like, right near that part when I was listening to it before the phone call, and that caught me as odd too. I was like, wow. The way I hear that is Stephan got the magazine on his own and wanted to, like, praise his mom or make his friend think that his mom was cool like that and bought him this magazine.
Yeah, it could be.
Kind of thing. 'Cause I don't see Deb doing that.
Yeah, I guess he has no first-hand knowledge, I guess, of her handing him the porn. You know, like he didn't see her do that. He just heard him say that. Yeah, that makes sense.
I did hear in one of the other interviews that he always liked to present himself as, you know, the alpha male in the room, right? Mm-hmm. And I can agree with that. That, you know, he did always want to portray that, you know, he's better than you, and, you know, he knows karate or whatever. I think he was got a black belt in karate. He was in a karate at some point, and people would ask me, "Oh, you're not scared of him?" I'm like, no, I'm not scared of him. Like, I don't think he's gonna do anything. But because, you know, other people were, because he had stabbed the guy and he was karate, like, so I don't know. He did always seem to have to kind of one up. So I could see how, you know, he wants this guy to think that him and his mom are cool. So he'll tell that guy what he needs to, you know.
Well, thank you all very much for watching. If you haven't hit that like button already, if you could hit that for me, I would appreciate it. And leave a comment in the comments section and let me know what you thought of the information that you heard from Josh. Again, part 2 will be coming out soon. And don't forget to watch tonight when Erica Pillsbury joins us. She is the mother of Mercedes Vega, a 22-year-old woman who was brutally murdered on April 17th, 2023 in Tempe, Arizona. When she was found at the crime scene, she had bleach poured down her throat. She had been shot, beaten on the head, and burned alive. She'll be on at 6 p.m. this evening, Pacific Standard Time. Again, hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you all very much for watching. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.